All right, y'all, if you're even thinking about moving to Richmond in 2026, pause for a moment because this city, it's not quietly growing. Richmond didn't just glow up. She woke up one morning, stretched, looked at the James River, and said, "Yeah, it's my time." Most newcomers expect historic, quaint, maybe even slow, and then they wander into a part of town on an ordinary Tuesday and wonder why it feels like the whole city is humming. Carytown is still loud and colorful. Downtown has this low, steady charge that didn't exist 10 years ago, like a city stepping fully into itself. Every time someone walks into a coffee shop and sees a group of people sketching ideas or building something new, I see the look on their face. They're surprised, intrigued, a little bit hooked. But here's the part people never expect. Richmond is full of hidden gems, underrated pockets, and quiet standouts you won't find on a relocation brochure. They're places you only understand once you're here, places that shape your days without you even planning it. And that brings me to why you clicked. This video is exactly what you need to know before deciding to move to Richmond in 2026. Not the polished version, not the tourist version, the real Richmond. The lived-in one, the one you feel in your chest by week 2. Let's get into it. Quick reset. If you're new here, I'm in Richmond every day. I'm not checking Google Maps to describe neighborhoods. I'm walking these streets. I'm grabbing coffee where you smell the beans roasting before you even open the door. I'm out by the river listening to the water move while cyclists fly past. I hear the skateboard wheels and the fan, the dogs trotting along sidewalks, and the neighbor a few blocks over who plays music like the entire street needed a soundtrack. This isn't the polished version of Richmond. This is the real version. As you watch this, think about your rhythm, what you want life to feel like when you step outside. Because Richmond has neighborhoods that feel alive, buzzing, ideas driven. Others that feel peaceful and green. Others that feel creative and evolving, like a new chapter being written every day. My job is to help you picture the version of Richmond that fits your rhythm. Let's start with the part nobody tells you. Richmond is not the city people picture from a distance. It's louder, sharper, more awake, and so much more layered than newcomers realize. People arrive expecting something quaint and predictable. Instead, they find a city that reveals itself in pieces, one surprising neighborhood at a time. And you can feel how many people are moving here. Tens of thousands of newcomers have arrived, and the energy shifts long before it shows up in a data report. One of my clients flew in recently expecting a slow, traditional southern city. She had this mental picture of quiet streets and easy afternoons. Then we drove into West Hampton, and her entire perspective cracked open. Brick storefronts, boutique cafes, sidewalks full of people strolling with coffee, restaurants that look like they belong in cities twice our size, but without the attitude. She looked around and said, "This is Richmond? I didn't know it had this kind of polish." We kept going and I took her into Maymont next, because if you want to understand Richmond's depth, you need to see the places where the city breathes, rolling hills, old trees that look like they've witnessed every version of Richmond, views that stop you mid-sentence. We stepped out of the car and she just inhaled and whispered, "I had no idea this was here." That's the moment where Richmond shifts from the idea into feeling. But the moment that sealed it, when we walked through the museum district, she expected it to feel small or historic in a predictable kind of way. Instead, architectural texture everywhere. Art students on benches sketching, people heading to the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts, cafes filled with conversations that sounded like ideas being born. She looked at me, actually stunned, and said, "Why doesn't anyone talk about this? This feels like its own world." And that's Richmond in 2026. It arrives in layers. It reveals itself slowly. Then suddenly it gives you scenes that feel modern, scenes that feel historic, and scenes that feel like hidden gems tucked inside a bigger story. Richmond is in motion, Not pretending, not copying, becoming. And if you're listening to this and thinking, okay, I need someone who actually knows Richmond to help me figure out where I land in all of this, that is literally what I do. I am your local Richmond relocation real estate expert of choice, and I help people just like you find their place in this city every single day. My information is in the description. Call me, text me, email me, grab a time on my calendar, whatever feels easiest when you're ready to figure out your Richmond move with someone who actually knows the streets, the vibe, and how this city really lives. Reach out and I'll walk you through it. Richmond has this way of shifting your rhythm, not dramatically, but deeply. People move here thinking they'll live the same way they did in their last city, but Richmond changes you quietly rather than all at once. You start grabbing coffee because it smells too good not to. You take a different street because the trees look especially beautiful that day. Your errands stop feeling like tasks and start feeling like little rituals. A client from Denver told me I didn't expect Richmond to feel this human, and she was right. Here, life doesn't push you, it nudges you. There's also a social shift newcomers don't expect. Richmond isn't a place where you need to assemble a group chat or plan 3 weeks ahead just to get a drink. Someone says, I'm heading to a brewery, and suddenly you're already halfway out the door. You become a regular faster here. Your barista remembers your drink by week 2. Your favorite walking route becomes something you look forward to. That park bench becomes your thinking spot. Now, let's talk about where that rhythm shows up in the neighborhoods. Richmond isn't a city where you pick an address. It's a city where you pick a lifestyle track. Every neighborhood has its own energy, its own pace, its own story, and because Richmond is growing so quickly, many areas are remixed versions of themselves, history layered with something new. If you gravitate towards motion, creativity, or walkability, the areas near the river and downtown have this steady, magnetic pulse. Morning runners, cyclists crossing bridges, people on patios by noon. It's the be in the mix version of Richmond. If you lean towards something grounded, the quiet gems, older, tree-lined streets with long-established homes, offer a calmer pace. The architecture has confidence without shouting. The environment feels settled. Then there are the evolving pockets where newer builds, green trails, and fresh businesses meet older bones. These areas feel like chapters still being written. People who like to grow with a neighborhood tend to find themselves here, not because the neighborhood is for a certain type of person, but because the environment itself feels alive. One morning, I turned down a street in Northside just as sunlight hit the old brick homes at the perfect angle. It felt like stepping into a story. Richmond has moments like that everywhere, little flashes that help you understand what kind of life you want to build. Richmond's magic is simple. Different pockets, different rhythms, different ways to feel at home. Let's clear up the mistakes that trip people up when moving to Richmond, because avoiding them will save you so much time. Mistake number 1, thinking Richmond is still the city it was 10 to 15 years ago. It's not. Neighborhoods have evolved. New pockets have emerged. Buildings, businesses, green spaces, all redefining the daily rhythm. Mistake number 2, choosing a neighborhood based on Google Maps alone. Richmond moves block by block. One street feels residential and calm. Turn the corner and you're in a corridor with murals, coffee shops, and creative energy buzzing in the air. A client from Phoenix once said, this neighborhood doesn't match the map at all. It's way better. And she was right. Richmond reveals itself in real life, not online. Mistake number 3, bringing your old lifestyle priorities into a completely new environment. People come in wanting space, then fall in love with walkability. Others want the city pulse, then stand on a tree-lined, quieter street and feel unexpectedly grounded. It happens all the time. Mistake number 4, the big one, picking a house before understanding the neighborhood's rhythm. Because here's the thing. What does the street sound like at 7 p.m.? What does the morning feel like? What's the energy on Saturday? Richmond's neighborhoods have heartbeats. You want the one that syncs with yours. Richmond is in one of the biggest transformation periods in decades, and you can see it everywhere. Downtown has shifted from an office corridor to a residential district. Buildings that once closed at 5 p.m. now have lights on late into the evening. I was walking past the Canal Walk one morning and noticed how many joggers looped through before work. That didn't used to happen. That's what growth does. It fills in the quiet spaces. Scott's Addition has evolved into its own small city, not just breweries, but residential pockets, new restaurants, and creative spaces that keep expanding the footprint. Manchester continues its evolution with warehouse conversions, lofts, and modern builds rising along the riverfront. It feels like watching a neighborhood come into its own identity. Brooklyn Park is one of those quiet standout areas experiencing grassroots renewals. Small businesses opening, renovations unfolding, a sense of rediscovery happening on the ground. And on the outer edges, places like Midlothian, Mechanicsville, Glen Allen, Short Pump, Ashland, and Moseley aren't just suburbs anymore. They're becoming full ecosystems with parks, trails, healthcare, retail, and dining built into day-to-day life. Choosing between new construction or retail in Richmond isn't just about choosing a house. It's choosing a lifestyle. New construction is Richmond's future. Modern layouts, clean lines, builder incentives making a comeback. Communities still filling in. If you love the smell of fresh paint and the feeling of being that very first person to turn the key, this might be your lane. One of my clients recently walked into a brand new townhome and said, "This feels like a reset." And that's exactly what new construction could feel like, a fresh chapter. Resale, on the other hand, is Richmond's soul. Historic details, unique architecture, homes that feel like stories, not products. But they come with quirks, older systems, character that sometimes requires attention, and surprises you didn't necessarily plan for. I stepped into a museum district home not long ago, and the hardwood floors creaked. Not because they were old, but because generations had lived life on them. That feeling is hard to recreate. Neither is better. They're just different experiences. The real question, do you want to plug into the Richmond that's emerging, or the Richmond that built all this momentum? Only you can answer that. Let's talk numbers, but let's talk about life too, because cost of living isn't just math. It's how far your days stretch. Richmond isn't cheap. It's smart with your money. The city still sits a little under the national average, but the real win is how far your budget actually goes without making you feel like you're living on calculator mode every day. People move here because you can build a life, not just make rent, and pray nothing breaks. Housing's the big lever. Most rentals land in the low to mid 1800s, and resale pricing still doesn't hit the sticker shock you get in bigger metros. And the only reason those numbers haven't gone wild is because the city built like crazy. Thousands of units dropped in a short window, vacancy pushed above 8%, and for once the market didn't punish people for needing somewhere to live. But with so many new residents rolling in every year, that breathing room won't last long. Where Richmond really flexes is the everyday stuff. Groceries sit close to national norms, utilities come in a little light, and getting around town doesn't feel like funneling cash into a black hole. You feel it in the moments that make a city feel livable. Grabbing dinner in Chaco without checking your bank account first. Parking in the fan without sacrificing your sanity. Running errands in Short Pump and not needing a post-trip recovery nap for your wallet. This is the stuff that makes Richmond feel human instead of hostile. There are pressure points, though. Water and utility costs have been shaky thanks to aging infrastructure. Renovated pockets like Bellevue, Westover Hills, and parts of Northside carry a premium because everyone wants that historic look, modern systems combo. Richmond is still affordable, but it's growing into its bigger city shoes, and the price tags are starting to show it. The real trick is matching the Richmond lifestyle you want with the budget you actually have. A Chaco loft with skyline sunsets has its own math. A Midlothian cul-de-sac has a different one. A lakeside fixer-upper with a backyard big enough for a smoker and 2 dogs? Whole different equation. Richmond can be walkable, spacious, gritty, polished, quiet, buzzy, or all of the above, but each version comes with its own line item reality. It's never just, is Richmond affordable? It's, is your Richmond the right fit? Richmond runs on a different clock. People move here from bigger metros expecting chaos or long commutes, and then discover this city has its own steady heartbeat. Traffic has its moments, but it doesn't steal hours from your day. You can get across town without needing a battle plan. I had a client from Northern Virginia tell me, "This feels like cheating. I got everywhere in 15 minutes. Schools vary in size, structure, programs, and culture. The best approach is to explore publicly available resources, visit schools personally, and determine what aligns with your needs. Convenience is where Richmond quietly excels. You can run errands across 3 different areas and still make it home before dinner. A grocery run doesn't turn into an odyssey. A Target trip doesn't require recovery time. Even the busy parts of the city feel navigatable. And here's what's interesting. People in Richmond don't complain about the grind. They talk about the good coffee shop they found, the trail they walked after work, the spot they discovered on a random evening. That's the rhythm here. The switch people feel after they move to Richmond usually hits out of nowhere. One day you're rushing around like you still live in Northern Virginia or Jersey, and the next you're sitting on a porch in the fan at 9 a.m. with coffee, listening to nothing but birds and someone dragging a trash bin down the alley. It's the second you realize this place fits. Not flashy, not curated, just an easy rhythm you can actually live inside. And because this metro added tens of thousands of new residents recently, you feel that energy around you. Young professionals heading to work downtown, VCU students weaving through traffic on bikes, longtime locals chatting outside of a bakery. It's a real mix, and it makes the day feel full without feeling frantic. That's Richmond. Your life becomes usable. You stack errands, meet a friend, walk by the river, grab dinner, and you still have energy left. You don't need reservations to exist. You don't need luck to park. You don't need a spreadsheet to manage your day. Nights out feel easy. A show at Browns Island, a gallery event, a rooftop drink with a view that makes you breathe deeper. People show up because they want to, not because they're keeping up appearances. Richmond gives you space, a life you can feel yourself inside, a rhythm you grow with. So that's the real story of moving to Richmond in 2026. The lifestyle shifts, the neighborhood personalities, the underrated pockets, the common mistakes, the developments shaping where we're headed, the truth behind new construction and resale, the day-to-day rhythms, and what life actually feels like once you settle in. Just a few months back, I helped a couple from Boston who planned to rent for 6 months, just to test it. 3 weeks in, 3. They called me laughing because they already had a favorite coffee shop, a walk-in route, a go-to brewery, and were ready to break the lease and start house hunting. Richmond gets people quickly, quietly, fully. If you're ready to make that move, or you just want to ask a few questions to confirm your thought, reach out, call, text, or email me anytime. You'll be talking directly to me, and I'm here to help you figure out your version of Richmond.